Okay. So this is basically just a short video, just like about me talking about like, creating a character design, right? Um it's not, not that not that complex or anything. And I'm not that good at it, but you know, I made a whole stream. I mean, I had a whole stream just today where I was doing this, but you know, it's like that's like hours and hours. I just want to talk about it for like a couple of minutes, and kind of just break down what I thought of, right? Um, so I'm making a comic, right, or a comic or a video or something, some kind of story with characters who are working in a convenience store. I might change that. Really, it's the occupation itself doesn't matter. More just like the fact that it's retail, I guess. It could really be anywhere, I guess. But the whole thing is that it's like occupation based, right? The whole thing about it is that the whole thing about the the whole thing about like what I'm trying to write is that it's like, kind of like The Office. It's like kind of like regular show, but like in anime. Yeah, that's one way to describe it. I've had like, I've been writing it for so long. I keep, you lose perspective on like what's the fucking aim of it, how the tone would work. But basically, I guess it would just be regular show, but a slice of life anime like K-On! Or something, right? That's probably a good way to put it. So basically, it's not like I have everything planned out or anything really, but I kind of have like the general idea of what I was thinking, right? And I have like notes and notes and notes that I've been taking over time, like 12 pages. But this doesn't seem like a lot, which is not really, because a lot of those are just scripts anyway. I think like, you know, yeah, but whatever. I mean, I guess like technically I have like more pages of notes anyway, beyond that. But that really doesn't really matter either way for the sake of this video, right? Long story short, I'm working on a thing where, I guess animal based characters, mammal based characters specifically, are working in a convenience store, right? That's their thing. And the first two characters, which considering this is the second channel, you've already seen them by now. Uh, this is excuse me, Makima. Sorry, got it the other way. These are two characters drawn in the chibi style. Uh, which it was a group effort. No, that wasn't really a group effort. It was like, I got a commission to help artists help with that. My artists for the channel, Yui. So, thank you, Yui. And they helped me get the design kind of not fucked up, but the initial idea came from me, I guess. So I guess I did something, but I don't have any money, so I have to design my own characters now. So yeah, but this is Teddy, this is Nina, and they're both animal people, and she's also an animal person, right? And it very feels very awkward to explain it like that because I'm not a furry. If I am, at least I'm denying it. So, the whole point of it is to be denying it. So, you know, that's part of it, right? to deny that it's a furry show. Totally not furry, guys. I promise. This one's about animal people. It's different. It's like I literally have the possum from Kemono Friends up here. I could pretend that I don't know who that is, but I literally put it on the board. So yeah. But anyway, these two characters, they're working in a store together, and I thought, they're cool and all, but wouldn't it be cool if they had like another person to work with them, right? Another person to work with to kind of like, round out the character traits that I wanted to put in to those two that I couldn't really fit in because it would be too many, right? So I'm like, at least for now, I think that he's the more optimistic one, she's the more pessimistic one. Uh, he's the what's it called? The I don't know, like he's kind of dumb. That's like a typical thing. Dogs are kind of dumb, but they're cute. Dogs aren't that dumb, but it's like a stereotype. It's like shorthand or whatever. He's well, it's not really dumb. He's more like naive or doesn't know any better. It's like Sayori or something. Even though Sayori does know more than she's letting on, it's like she's just like ditzy, right? Uh, and she's like very like I don't know what's it called, like realist, like this sucks, I fucking hate this job, this is the worst shit. So I was like, huh, yeah, that's cool. Like they have like a thing going on technically with like could have something. I still trying to figure out like character flaws and like conflicts and stuff and like shit like that, but you know generally I'm kind of like okay with like the dynamics they have right now, kind of writing dialogue is kind of fun with that. I feel specifically like he's hard to write for because I'm trying to figure out like is that because whenever I watch episodes of SpongeBob, which is like a big reference for this whole thing, is that like I keep forgetting that SpongeBob's not optimistic all the time, and that's like one of the things that I have to keep remembering. So SpongeBob like this parts where he struggles, where he parts where he basically just has to deal with a lot of stupid bullshit, and he's optimistic through his struggles. He falls down sometimes but he gets back up. That's really the whole main thing about SpongeBob, right? So like the pizza delivery episode obviously is a very great episode, is that so the whole thing was that SpongeBob was optimistic in the first place. He's like Squidward's like, oh, we're about to close, I can leave, and Krabs was like, "Oh man, we gotta deliver pizza to this one customer." He's like, hey, and Squidward was like, "We don't even deliver pizza." And the they're like, SpongeBob was like, "Oh, that's gonna be great. We're gonna get that pizza delivered. It's gonna be the first Krusty Krab pizza, right?" And kind of that gist of it, right? And Squidward the whole time is obviously like, like, "Oh man, this sucks. Car broke down. We're in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. Let's eat that pizza." Someone was like, "No, let's not eat that pizza. It's for the customer." He's like, "Oh, you can't." Sort of like, "You can't drive a boulder." Someone's like, "Yeah, you can drive a boulder." And by the end of it, they get to the house, and of course, you watched the episode already, but I'm just explaining it for the sake of the for the video. They get to the house, and SpongeBob gets to the guy, and he's like, "Here's your pizza." He's all happy and shit, and the guy's the worst character, like the worst guy in the history of guys, and every character. Like I do not know of any character that I've hated more than that one guy at the door. Like it literally, it's like he kicks a puppy, right? Like fucking, he goes to SpongeBob. He's like, "Where's my fucking drink? My Diet Dr. Kelp? You can't do nothing, dickhead." And he's like the worst guy ever made, like literally out of all the guys except the worst guys. He's like pretty much like bottom tier guys, right? And SpongeBob was like, "Oh, I can't do anything right. I disappointed the customer. I fucked up everything. I'm such a dumbass." And Squidward's like, he's like realizes like SpongeBob got me all the way here, so SpongeBob is actually a good guy sometimes, even if he's annoying. And he's like, doom, 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 on the door, like slams the pizza into the guy's face because he's like, he's an asshole. He's like, "This one's on the house." And then, talks to, at the end of it, like, "No drink, no drink." He ate it all in one bite, And I watched these episodes so many times, I remember all the dialogue by hand, right? All the dialogue off my head. But gist is that, and they ride off into the sunset. But the gist is that, like, there's the, pessimist and the optimist, right? That's, as M. Blemon broke it down, and I've said this many a time. There's a pessimist and the optimist, right? And, the relationship between that is kind of thing. Like, I don't know, they're at odds with each other. I feel like I guess a realist or a pessimist is like a thing. Like, it's like it's a conflict that could happen. I don't know. But, whenever I was thinking about it, and I was like thinking about like, like plot lines that could happen, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I feel like, having a third like tertiary main character could help a lot, because SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward have a lot of adventures together, and then SpongeBob, Patrick, and Krabs, not SpongeBob, Patrick, and Krabs. Well, actually, yeah, this sometimes happens like really mostly in season 1 and 2. Yeah, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Krabs, SpongeBob, Squidward, and Sandy sometimes, but usually SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, right? It's like the trio that mostly falls under all these adventures with. And I'm like, huh, I probably should design at least another character to get like the initial set of plots that I want to kind of cover, right? Uh, and, I have more characters in mind, but this is like, a very important character for the terms of like having a third leg to stand on, I guess. So it's one of those things. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I've tried to design characters before, right? Like I designed what's her name? I'm trying to see the fucking thing. Like where the goddamn is she? Yeah. So it's like the comic version of it. Is that the version I'm using? Yeah, this character right here. She's like very poorly drawn, but like generally he's the coffee demon. I was drawing this as a comic initially. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to the comic format, but I was drawing this as a comic event like initially because it's one of the ways you can convey messages through like visually, right? So I was doing that and I was like you know and her name is Hocus now. I just came up with that name. Like Hocus Pocus. Yeah, it's like a magic trick. Isn't that fun? Isn't that funny? I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know. I like her design, even though it's kind of like I didn't convey it well here. I kind of like it. It might change like the things, like the little like things here, because it's like whatever. It doesn't matter. But I haven't done that many character design in my life, right? I'm not a character designer. I'm not really an artist. I don't really draw that often. So, I do what I got to do. I feel like I'm more of a writer type. I want to like the whole thing with this is like to visually convey like the minimum amount of like with the minimum amount of effort, right? Like if it could be a storyboard, if it could be a flip note, if it could be a fucking still image, then I would like be happy as long as it could convey whatever I want to do with the message, like whatever like themes and like plot lines I want to convey, right? And the whole thing was that so basically the first plot line I had was like about this like coffee demon that like invades their she's like just an absolute fucking dickhead and she just like wants to fuck with people for no reason. She's like I think the whole gist was that she was like this super powerful being like one of the top demons or whatever in some demon realm, and she just like spends her time just being like really petty and just fucking with some random employee's fucking coffee machine for no goddamn reason because she wants to annoy them slightly, and she just like likes doing that. And I thought the idea of that was funny, and I'm not sure if I even thought of it like while I was doing it. I just thought the idea of like someone haunting a coffee machine would be funny in the first place. So I was like, okay, well, what would haunt a coffee machine? And I was like, I already did like a paralysis demon, right, in a song. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like a coffee demon would be the next step up, right? And while she's not necessarily a coffee demon exclusively, she's pretty much that, just like only designed her for like this particular focus. But it's just same gist of it, same difference, right? So basically, do that. Did it like 11, 12 pages or whatever the fuck comic I was gonna do, and I was like, ah, god, I fucking hate drawing. And I'm like, man, this sucks. So I'm kind of in the progress of like kind of fixing, like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Maybe still do the comic. Maybe just do like a YouTube show or whatever, like Conjun House or some shit, or maybe like an animatic series. I don't fucking know. But whenever that's why I'm doing the animation tests, as you see in the previous videos, right? It's the gist of it. Anyway, doesn't matter for the pace of this. That's just like historical context, I guess. So anyway, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, I need another character, right? Dog, skunk. They're cool, but they won't do. I need another character. So and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, huh. And I did a lot of like brainstorming here. And like it's not like I went through, because I could have went through one iteration, right? It's easy to just like go through one iteration, kind of like stop it. But like I had let me show you this. It was, where is it? It was this design, right? Where I had here, let's put this in the corner, where I had like a rabbit design. It's like a white-haired rabbit. Because first of all, if a comic's in black and white, right? I don't have to. That means you don't have to color shit in if something's white. First of all, it's like the Akira Toriyama shit, where he's like, oh, Super Saiyan. Well, I mean, I think that's a myth. I'm pretty sure like people have like stated that's a myth. There's no evidence for that, but that, you know, the same just applies, right? So essentially, um, like I'm thinking about this, and I'm not sure which gender I want them to be, because you know, um, gender definitely affects how like you know your stuff is perceived. You could be the same exact character, but like if the character has a different gender, then they like just have a lot of differences. Just like a lot of differences, like especially in audience interpretation and shit like that, right? So I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It's cool and all. I kind of like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have another guy, but I definitely feel like women that'd be like more interesting to have in the main cast because like you know there's like ton of fucking guy shows, right? I'm thinking about regular show, right? Regular show is like the main inspiration for this, you know, 3 in the AM PM. There's a lot of inspiration behind this, you know, Chainsaw Man, but you know, main inspiration is 3 in the AM PM, right? Just them working in a fucking gas station, convenience store type shit, and you know, those were just two dudes, right? Just two dudes doing drugs, chilling out, eating sushi. Oh, bear orgy, you know, shit like that. I hope you know that meme, or else I sound like a fucking maniac. And basically, I'm just like, you know, dudes are cool, but I like women. I like drawing women. I like I like women. They're cool. You know, I I want to be one. You know, it's great stuff like that. Um, I mean, to a certain extent, I already am one, but that's you know, it's like you know, can't afford my estrogen. Anyway, that's unrelated. So, general gist is that I am drawing this character, right? And this character is like, first of all, I can't draw for shit, so give me a break there, all right? Like, let me be for real. Let me break a character. I draw for shit. It's not really character. I just draw like shittily, right? So, you know, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know, I had the whole design process with this character too, but the main thing was that, and I thought like it would be kind of cool to have like, I like the whole thing with mammals, right? Like mammals, I think that mammals are cool. I don't know. I just like the way they look. Like if you just look at a picture of this opossum, like isn't it adorable? Isn't it cute? I just like the way it looks. You know, they're like eyes, just like the way it just sniffs around and shit. Like all these mammals, like dogs do the same thing, skunks do the same thing, possums do the same thing, rabbits do the same thing. They're just like all just like, you know, like waddle around, sniff around, kind of just like go through their day. You know, like you know, there are other animals who kind of like, you know, kind of like crawl like a you know like a lizard or whatever, or like swim around or whatever. You know, like elephants like stomp, they stomp around, which you know they're kind of cool too. But like I don't know, like the small ones are kind of like cute. And you know, those are like typical ones you see in America, right? But you know, just was that like, and I don't know. This is like, there's no reason explaining a story. It's kind of late to be saying this, like, because it's already like 10 minutes in, right? 20 minutes in. But I'm saying there's kind of like no use to explaining a story that no one like. It's not even like completed yet or even started, right? I mean, I've started a lot of it, but like it's not like finished, right? But you know, still, I want to record the process. I feel like it's kind of interesting, just the thought process of like writing stuff, you know like like I've read a lot of like character design stuff, or I've read a lot of writing stuff. I watched a lot of character design videos, right? So I don't know, just maybe just like someone going through the process of just like what their ideas look like in their brain and how they explain them out is like cool or whatever. So in the first place, I mean, I don't want to show you the original like sketches. Actually, let me show you the because I'm explaining the whole show right now, right? The whole idea. So let me explain like let me not get all the sketches out, but let me explain like a little bit more from it, right? So I already explained like the whole premise of the show. Like it's just basically just like regular show, but like with like an anime slice of life show, right? Like all that shit. And you know, I feel like the whole thing of that is that it would lend itself to a lot of like variation in genre, which I think is cool. I mean, I kind of want it to be like a comedy, maybe a little dramedy, but generally a comedy, right? Just keep it light a little bit, because I don't know how to write a heavy show. I feel like writing a heavy show would be like, it just takes too much like skill to be like, and even Breaking Bad had levity, right? I think that's like most of it. A lot of people just forget the levity, and writing a cartoon that doesn't have levity is kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You could definitely have a serious cartoon. Like you ever like watch if you've ever watched what's it called? What's the one with the guy with the spear? He's like his name's actually Spear. Um Primal. If you ever watch Primal, it literally is like pretty much just like all there's a little bit of levity there, but it's pretty much all just like action and like quiet, and it's like really like cool. I really like appreciate shows like that being made. Like it's like a true adult show, right? And I think shows like that need to be made more often because like there's like a severe lack in that kind of shows in adult animation, right? But I'm just saying that in general, like animation is seen as at least to be like, I don't know. I think like BoJack Horseman did it well, and I mentioned BoJack Horseman a lot, but it literally is like my favorite. Like at least like it's very influential to me in terms of like wanting to do storytelling or wanting to like and my mission to my life mission to make something good, right? Something great. So if I make something even as at halfway as good as BoJack Horseman, I've already overachieved, right? Anyway, basically, like dramedies are like my because BoJack Horseman will have this like heavy shit, but it also had like some of the funniest goddamn jokes I've ever heard. It's just great. So I wanted to make something that was kind of like akin to that, right? And even from the beginning, right? So like look at this. Like this is like the like first sketch I give my artist, which this is the first sketch I even like had in general for like this fucking show, which and I'm gonna like I might make a video on like some of the detail, like some of like going through like the iterations or something. But for this, it'll just like imagine like, just like from the beginning, like, and it was the funniest shit is that before I say anything, I didn't because I thought about it from the beginning. I was like, oh, they work at a convenience store because I watched it like 3 a.m. p.m. Like, okay, that's kind of cool. I'd be like, what if that was an entire series, right? Which I mean, that was cool, an idea, right? That's an idea, but I didn't really consider like even when I drew the costumes, I didn't really like consider at least because at least at this point, I didn't have like a job like that, like a job like in this kind of genre of job. I don't know. So when I drew this, so basically I was just like thinking about it, I was like, oh man, what would look cool in these characters? I'd be like, oh man, an aviator jacket, that look cool. Go in an aviator jacket, dude with a dog tag because he's a dog. I thought that was really clever. I still want to use that. I should probably like think about that because the dog tag with the dog, that's so cool. That's such a cool idea. Anyway, and this is very poorly drawn, obviously. It looks like it's like from like a fucking middle school notebook or some shit. But basically, like it's like that. It kind of is like that, really. So idea like she was just like extremely tired all the time despite being nocturnal, and I thought that was kind of a funny irony where she's like he's a nocturnal one, and the dog is like supposed to be the what's the opposite of whatever the opposite of nocturnal is, and they just have like the flipped sleep schedules. He's like super hype and excited about his job, and she's like super tired and could not give less of a shit, but needs to give just the amount of shit to keep her job. Just like the only, like just barely above the amount of shit to keep her job. So I thought that was a cool like idea from the first place. Anyway, but yeah, and I don't know, like a dog is fairly obvious, right? Dog is like typical stuff. Everyone has a dog. A skunk, that's kind of that's like interesting. I thought that was interesting because I just like them. They're cute. I think they're adorable. I think they're just like absolutely adorable. People hate them, which I mean they have a good reason to, but I think this is adorable. Just like an underrated animal, like a just really cool animal. They're like designer. They're like the Gucci, Gucci, can Gucci, can Gucci. Yeah, they're like it's like the fashion statement, right? It's like you don't have anything more like striking than black and white, right? Like a zebra or like a chipmunk or something. Yeah, I don't know. And like realizing it now, I'm like that works very well for comic, black and white, It works very well for that format. I thought about it now. I didn't think about it back then, but anyway. So the whole point of that was that I'm kind of just breaking all this shit down and like one by one, which I should have just covered at the beginning. but it's fine. Kind of like rambling in my way through this shit, right? So suffice to say, they're iterations of these characters, right? But they're generally the same thing. I should go back and like, if I go back and like redesign Ted over there, should make him more top heavy because that's kind of like what his design was in the first place. Um, but I also kind of like him as like a twink. Anyway, anyway, and I think the whole thing was that they were like love interests. I'm not sure how much I want to lean into that anymore. I'm not sure. I think at some point I do. Some point I want to lean into that. But you know, that's for later. I'll figure that out later. You know. But that wasn't the foundational ideas, right? It was just like, oh yeah, they'll end up together eventually, right? I always want to see a story where it's like the characters like get together like super early in, and then the whole rest of the show is about their relationship. And I thought that was cool whenever BoJack did it, actually. Which again, very influenced by BoJack Horseman, because that show is just amazing, right? But you know, not enough shows have like, especially anime. Anime has that really just like thing with like its dramatic presence where it's like they really focus on the ending being like, oh, they get together and that's the ending. They have like the fireworks kiss, and then the series is like almost over, and then like maybe like one episode is like an epilogue, like 20 years later. They have like kids, they're running around. You don't really get to see the relationship part, right? And I thought that'd be kind of a cool idea, you know? I'm not getting to that. I don't know how to write relationships. I need to study that. But you know, I feel like it's just a cool idea to have in general, right? Just have my back pocket, right? Kind of a cool idea, you know. But yeah, the general gist is that that like I have this whole idea was that they're working in the store and they would just be like have this random shit happen to them, or they would like cause random shit to happen, which I think because like now like I didn't know how to write a story back then, so I'd be like I thought about it, I was like, oh man, Mordecai and Rigby have random shit happen to them. It's crazy. Wow. And now I realize that I studied writing a little bit more, writing a little bit more, is that Mordecai and Rigby technically have their flaws that cause the story. Their fatal flaw, which is like almost always being super fucking lazy, right? So the fatal flaw is like that, and that inherently just like helps them you know, helps the story progress. And you know, I don't remember how it is in SpongeBob, so I need to go back and study. I think it definitely depends on the episode. A lot of those plots are kind of just like very simple anyway, so it's like, you know, so I gotta remember that. Maybe I'll do a SpongeBob video essay or something, right? But essentially, like the whole point of this is that I thought about this whole process through, right? And the conflicts, it probably helped the conflicts to have one more character to have not only instigate a conflict but also help solve it, because I don't know, I feel like it'd be like dialogue is just where all the funniness comes from, you know? Like I'm not going to do physical comedy, I don't have the animation skills for that, so dialogue is basically just what I'm going to be doing, and that's assuming I even get voice actors, which at this point I'm just going to probably voice act this shit myself. This is just like me, I'm just like a me project, you know, trying to train a feminine voice just to have these characters. That'd be kind of funny. But essentially, right, is that like a trio just works better for some episodes, and then you have a trio designed, you can go and like eliminate one person from each episode. Then you could have be like, oh, you know, this is oh, I forgot, yeah, it's a Nina and Lynn story. Also, her name is Lynn, I forgot to mention that. Like Lena and Lynn story. Oh, that's what that would be. Oh, this is a Ducky and Lynn story. Not Ducky. Fucky. What's his name? Teddy. That was his original name, Ducky. I have it like on the file name for the image that I originally wrote it on, and it's kind of fucked up because, and I know someone's like eventually gonna like watch this that I like know. So like on like an internet friend. So like I used to have it named Ducky, and then I met someone in like I had an online friend that I eventually knew that was also named Ducky, which was kind of fucked up because the original idea with the character, right, was that he was a dog. I thought of the dog thing first. So I was like, Okay, he's a dog. What would be a stupid dog name? Like, what would be a name that would be just stupid for a dog to have? And I'd be like, well, a duck's a different animal, so calling a dog a duck is like 100% a stupid dog name kind of thing. And then, I had to change it because I was like, I felt awkward having a character that would just like be in a story based like literally have the same name as someone I know, like a username of someone I know. So it's kind of fucked up right there. So yeah. Then I changed it to Teddy, which I thought it was a cooler name, and I'm glad I changed it because Teddy kind of matches his personality better because he's like a giant teddy bear or whatever, and he's very like soft and like cuddly and shit. And the whole thing is that he's like you know, and you can shorten that down to Ted, which sounds better instead of being like Duck, you know, Duckman. So Ted sounds cool as like a name, right? Ted, Family Guy, Ted. And then there's also the fact that you could be like what's it called? There's also the fact that you could be like what's it called? What am I fucking trying to say? Um I forgot what I was gonna say. Basically like I think it was like the gist of it was like it's also a another stupid dog name that someone would have that's also based on an animal, like a teddy bear, right? So yeah, which I mean, I think Teddy's actually short for something like Theodore or some shit, but I think like I'm not sure if I wanted that to be his name or like his actual name is just Teddy. I don't know. Like I have his like parents like mom in mind. I listen, I've been working on this for years. I have like every fucking possible thing in mind except the thing that actually matters to the story. Um so I have all this background lore and shit in mind, right? And you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, especially if you flesh out your ideas, then you could definitely write like stories based on fucking anything. So really that's like the whole gist of it. And you know, I thought it would just be, I just have like I know internally like what his home life is like and what her home life is like and maybe what her one is, even though I just designed her, I kind of have the general gist of it. So, it's like whatever. But doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, that's the story about like Ted, Teddy. I thought it'd be cool dog name. I always like that idea, just having like a dog name like a another another animal. Because technically Rex, a common dog name, is just like based on T Rex, right? So it's another like entity being. I don't know if like yeah, reptiles are animals, I guess, aren't they? Something like that. Anyway, uh, so basically, long story short, character designs, right? So I started off with this, and I was like, a rabbit. I think rabbits are cool. They'd be cute, and they kind of fit the theme of mammals. I didn't really think about, I did think about like, nocturnal, but I'm like, if I have one nocturnal, one non-nocturnal animal in here, I mean, like, it'd just be funny if just like she specifically is just like really bad with her sleep schedule. It'd just be really funny to me. So I thought that would be like, kind of work out that way, right? So, rabbit character, kind of worked out. And I don't know, I remember even one she was inspired by. I think I have like, I remember I must have like it somewhere. Like, where is it? Is it the critter file? Yeah. Which all the critter files open or insert a new layer. Um, which I feel like, let me open that. Yeah, I have like, no, this is not the original. This was the other version. There's like another critter file I had with all the stuff in it. I use a fuck ton of references and shit. So I don't know. I don't remember what that critter file is. Is it this one? No, it's like a critter file, like a critter file with a like a weird like squiggly line by it. So I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, character design inspired by just various stuff. Probably. I was like the dude version of her, which I might reuse as another design. Honestly, it depends on how I do it. So basically, he's like kind of like based on like like hair metal bands, like the whole like or like grunge bands, like uh Mudhoney, yeah, Mudhoney, and she's based on like kind of like the same kind of thing, like punk ideals, and that's like the general gist of like what I like the base characters on, like based on music I like, or like style I like, which is just like how you get inspired by shit, right? So, because I'm not gonna make a character based on styles I hate. That'd be kind of fucked up, right? Um, so that's kind of a thing. So, and then you can't really like this was like the old outfit, right? So let me say for reference, do I have a reference sheet? I might have one. Uh, which I have all these comics here, right? I don't use any art I commissioned. I only have like one art I commissioned, but I don't want to use that one because I show it fucking everywhere. Um, I don't know. It's like just I don't want to show any comic pages either because I feel stupid showing the comic pages. So basically, the old design I had for like their outfits had this like line on it, right? And it was just like light green, and I think it was like the artist I commissioned it from Yui's interpretation. 'Cause I gave them the like a reference of like 7-Eleven outfits specifically. And kind of like they do have that kind of line, that like vertical line that way, So it's one of those things. And basically, like, um, long story short, right? Like I tried the comic and I drew it with the lines, and I realized like as I'm like kind of like working other stuff that wow, that's probably gonna be hard to animate or hard to draw over and over again because it's hard to draw over and over when I did the comic. I hated drawing that one line. It's not that hard. You just gotta use the line tool, and it's like say like it's a couple seconds that you have like use. So I'm like, oh, how do I fix that? And then I changed it to like having like the regular shirt. So and it kind of matches out more to like how people's outfits uniforms kind of more are, because they not like they have both, right? But like a lot of people just they don't have the lines. A lot of people have just like the regular shirt or whatever with the little logo on the side, and it's possible that thing it is like that. Anyway, so general gist of it is that I had to change it. I had to change it because it's hard to animate, hard to draw over and over again. And I hated doing that. I hated drawing it over and over again. 'Cause I had to draw like that line, like different angles and shit. And it pissed me off. It's not that hard. It's just pissed me off. So that's one thing. So that's why they have like this, kind of like a green shirt with like the greener collar. I thought that was an idea to get it done. Anyway, so, yeah. Uh, and I wanted to experiment with body types with Lynn, which is her name again, because she generally, right, she's like, because it's like narrative reasons why they're like thin, but generally like I want to experiment with like different types because the whole thing was that like she's like short and scrawny, he's like kind of buff, muscly, a little bit more, not really muscly, kind of just like kind of thin too, right? And then she'd be like not quite like not like voluptuous or anything, but like just a little thicker, a little bit like wider, I guess. Because I think the whole idea I had behind that, which I'm just explaining all my ideas here, just to like, get them all out of my system, so I just have like all this shit like out of me, right? The whole idea I had was that she would be like, because I remember I wanted this idea because I was like thinking of SpongeBob, like man, I want a lazy character, and I like a character just kind of fucks around and kind of doesn't do jack shit, and I was like that kind of work in the workplace comedy, but over time I kind of like thought about it. I'm like, nah, because I don't really look good. First of all, second of all, because I want them to contribute to the plot, right? And Patrick does contribute to the plot when in SpongeBob, but I don't want it to be like I want the character to contribute like without having like to like through stupidity or something, I don't know. So I don't know. It's like yeah. So I think the whole original idea was that she was like be like a fucking stoner, like a really hardcore stoner, and I thought that was funny too. I was like, man, that'd be funny as shit. and I realized that I don't know how to write stoners because I don't smoke shit and I don't feel like doing that much research on it. I'm like, oh man, I have to research like fucking bowls and plant types and all this shit and be like, oh man, this is like this purple haze type shit, and you know this like this is the real like green shit, and it'd be like, oh man, this is like real deep shit. This is making you like psychotic shit, you know? Like I don't know that shit. I don't care. So, you know, I thought it was an idea at first, but I thought that it was kind of funny because I wanted her to have red eyes because it'd be like you couldn't tell that she was high. It's kind of like a thing. I mean, you could still kind of tell with like the eyeballs, but it'd be like so hard to tell that like she's high at work. That it's like I thought that was a really clever idea, you know. So you know, it's a shame I had to scrap it because of various reasons. I thought that was a really clever idea. I thought it was cute. Anyway, so yeah, um, you know, I want to have like shoes because rabbits like are infamous for like being able to jump, or is that hares, something like that. You know, rabbits and hares are basically interchangeable for most people. So it's like, you know, crocodiles and alligators, like they're different animals. It's like possums and opossums actually. They're different animals. People just don't really think about it too much, you know. So I don't know. I don't know which one jumps, but I wanted the shoes because I was like, you know, having a shoe collector in the cast would be kind of an interesting story, you know. Maybe have some side plots there, you know, like, you know, it's like one plot where she could just be like, oh man, I need this rare shoe, and she has to like work super overtime with this rare shoe before this like shit drops, and then something gets in the way, blah 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 blah. So I don't know, like one of her interests, you know, kind of show that on her screen because it's not like, you know, with a plot like this, a premise like this, you don't have that many options for like character expression through like outfits because it's a uniform, right? It's like a work uniform, right? You know, you can maybe like say how they wear it or like what they do with what they wear, but generally, or maybe the accessories they have like otherwise, but generally, like it's like you can't you can't show that much. So I guess I wanted to do what like with what I could. So and I still think this design looks all right. Like it was drawn by someone who's like more talented. It was like all right, but um you know, and let me finish explaining all the rest of the design. You know, the ears, one of the big wide ears, which is the same color as the eyes. I want as few colors as possible. You know, just so I keep my design simple, easy to draw. Um, you know, like I said, wide hips. First of all, cause I just like that kind of like I just like that like you know the way like you draw it like it's like wavy and it kind of feels good to draw. I like how it comes out. I like attractive women with like wide hips. You know, they look cool. You know, I have Makima here. It's not actually Makima's like, you know, thick, but you know, I just like that. You know, it's like just looks physically, just looks like appealing. You know, and you know he looks cool too. But I don't know. I just like he doesn't have those wide hips. He doesn't he doesn't have that. No, don't say that. I was gonna say something that would date this video. So don't think about it. Anyway, so yeah, generally the whole thing is that yeah, kind of the thing. And you know, I thought of this thing, which was like one of the main foundational parts of the character. Not foundational, but like, you know, one of the things I wanted to include was I wanted a character that was you know, Latina or like Latino, Latina, because you know, I thought it'd be cool. I don't know. You know, I like the skin tone works. It's a variation, kind of broadens the cast, you know, have different perspectives. And specifically, I wanted like a subplot where whatever character it was, whatever incarnation would be like, I might include this one day, so don't be mad at me if you're watching this and I include it and you'd be like, oh man, I knew this before. Like most people aren't gonna watch it anyway, right? But if it does somehow get watched by a couple people, like like it's one of those things that is a gag. All right, I'll make it funny. Anyway, the whole thing was that like she or she, whatever version of she, would be like really bad at her native tongue. Like she's like born like I don't know Spanish or something, right? And she's just like really bad at Spanish. But she's like super rusty, but she's like, you know, pretty competent in English, probably like, you know, above average if anything. And you know, maybe even like really good at English, right? And that's like the English that she learned because it's like she speaks it every day, right? But her Spanish is so rusty and is so unused that it's like she literally just like it sounds like like a dial tone to her, right? It's like I thought it'd be funny just like to have like a giant block of black text because she has no idea what people are saying in Spanish or whatever. So I thought like a couple options for that, you know, like Portuguese, German, what's it called? Like Chinese or like what's it, Mandarin or whatever. So I don't know. It was just Swedish, some shit like that. British slang, French. There's like a lot of options, but I don't know. I thought it'd be like it just make the most sense for like a character that's like, you know, like speaks Spanish, that to have that because I've heard of that happening in real life. I've heard of like you know I definitely like watched at least the way I've watched YouTubers who like said that's happened to them where it's like, you know, they speak both languages but they're like native tongue or like they're at least like their Spanish is rusty, not necessarily the native tongue. I guess it's like shared tongue, like a bilingual thing, like equally bilingual, but like their Spanish is super rusty and they'd be like they kind of just like lose shit in the translation. So I thought it was like a funny idea. I don't know. When I explain it out loud, it doesn't sound as funny, but you know, it's kind of funny. Anyway, so I thought it was like I don't know. I like the design generally, but the main thing was that this is the plot twist here. Let me just search a certain character for you. And this pains me to say it on every level because I'm just like very, very sad about this, right? It does not feel good to say. It does not feel good to say. But okay. So basically, you watch My Hero Academia. I like pretty much accidentally like recreated her like what's her name? Mirko. Mirko's design. Like not exactly. Like you can have a white rabbit, right? You can have a white rabbit, but you know, it just felt too close. And I'm like, nah, I could do better than that. You know, I could do different than that. It's not like I would just like completely die if I had that character because they'd be like, oh, you know. But I just didn't want that like, didn't want that exact like, you know, comparison to come my way. I thought that'd be kind of fucked up. So I'm like, cause I'm like, this is a main character. This is not like a side character. I'm like, this is a main character. So I'm like, you know, gotta go back to the drawing board. And that wasn't the whole reason. I'm like, you know, the design was kind of all right, but you know, I kind of wanted to redesign it anyway. So I'm like, you know, kind of like iffy on it anyway. And it's like, I had a reason to just be like, nah, you know what, nah, right? So that's one thing. So I thought that was just like kind of fucked up. That I actually, it's like the guy who it's like how Dead Mouse like accidentally recreated D- Sandstorm, Darude Sandstorm, and it's like, god damn it, you know. It's like working backwards to have the same result. It's so fucked up. It's so stupid and fucked up, and I hate it. I fucking hate it. So yeah, it's one of the things. So I'm like, oh man, back to the drawing board. So I go back and I, you know, I just like go back and write a lot of notes, right? This is like, what's this from? It's like a couple months ago at this point, or it's like at least a month ago. I feel like it's a couple months ago at this point. This is from, yeah, August. God damn. So, this is from like August where I drew the rabbit character design, right? And you know, in that time I did a lot of different stuff, but you know, generally the same person. After everything, you're still the same person. You're still you. Um, but yeah, the whole thing was that like you know, I wanted to redesign the character, right? Want to like kind of give it a different idea, and I was like, well, if a rabbit's not gonna work, and I could have just done the rabbit again, but you know, I'm like maybe I shouldn't do the rabbit. I'll kind of just explore my options. So I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about it. Like, what is the animal that sleeps the longest per day, or like, you know, animal that would be like, just like the most like sleepy animal possible? And I just like look it up, and it's like, sloths, blah blahs, blah blah, and it's like possum, and I'm like, wow, that'd be perfect because possums are just like skunks, like they're like mammals that are nocturnal, right? Or at least like generally nocturnal. I think skunks are like what's it called? They're like what's it called? They're like dusk-turnal or whatever the fuck. Like they come out at dusk generally sometimes, but essentially nocturnal, right? So it's like, okay, that'd be perfect for like, because the whole thing's about the night shift, right? So I say, I don't know how I didn't mention that before. Like the show used to be called Night Shift. I'm still kind of plotting out what the name is going to be, kind of settled on one, but we'll figure it out from there. So, and like, um, so I'm like possum, right? Possum. And I'm like, that's kind of perfect. That's kind of works. And I'm like, you know, thinking about ideas, thinking about how she would look. Kind of keep that idea of just like her being like, you know, Latina, because I'm like, because first of all, possums are like native to like Central America and North America, right? At least these kind of possums. There are like some possums that are native to like New Zealand and Brazil and shit like that. Very South America, you know. So there's actually possums and opossums. So in the case I'm talking opossums, specifically the Virginia opossum, which is like the one that's native to America, the one that you see, the typical gray possum. So there's a lot of different like I guess versions of that. But not really a different version, just like because the same species, but it kind of just looks a little different. But generally, same possum, same opossum, right? And like that's kind of cool. And like this is not like the best design I've ever done, right? But actually, it probably is the best design I've ever done because I don't really do that many designs, do I? So yeah, it probably is. Um, so so I'm thinking about it, right? And I'm like, okay. Explaining all this stuff would kind of take a while. So obviously, I have pictures of this like Latina woman because you know that's the general thing. Possums, right? Possums, kind of like the general just. So I don't want to include any whiskers. I feel like whiskers would kind of like go the Kimono Friends route, where it's just like anime girl with slight properties of animals, right? I'm like, that's cute, right? I like the way that comes out. So, like the tail and the ears, and that's kind of the gist of it. Like Kemonomimi, whatever the fuck it's called. So generally same thing, right? And I'm like, keep that idea, keep that. And this is like chibi version, so it's like I could just iterate on the idea quickly. I had like the whole like right here. You could see I had the whole like other version planned out. I had like body types, structures, and shit, right? So I was planning to like do the whole thing, but same thing of these. These are like other versions of that. Just like have a chibi version of it, just like to get the design down, so I don't like so I can just like get it over with, right? And I feel like fairly certain with this idea. So let me explain like from like where it is from the general thing. I think I don't have any like specific order. I can explain some of these like other pictures right here, right? Like like obviously the possums are pretty like self-explanatory. They're very much what the character is based on, right? The possums, especially like I like this one. I didn't use it that much, but I like the one. This one looks so cute. So surprised. It's like you found me, you got me, you found me. This one's kind of sniffing around. I think he got these from Wikipedia. That one's in the snow. Just wandering around. I'm just sitting there. Yeah, I like this one. This one's just like, sitting on a tree. Yeah, that one's kind of cool. This one right here, that one is on a tree too. That one's kind of like smaller, like wilder, but it even has like fur covering it up. Yeah. So that's the gist of it. Here's a color palette I found by searching possum. This one's a good picture. I love this picture. This is a picture of and I love just the mood boards, right? Just like getting a mood board. I have like way too many images, so some people get like references or just like 5 images maybe, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. But I have like I love doing mood boards that capture every single like idea I have ever even considered about this character design, right? And especially most like it kind of just like kind of conglomerates into the general gist of what you kind of get to. Like not everything makes it in. Like not specifically like yeah, I couldn't include the lipstick, the black lipstick that she has or whatever, but same kind of thing, right? but you know, kind of want her to be like tallish. I'm still kind of deciding if she's like medium sized or like tall, but you know, kind of tallish. I just wanted that vibe, just like of intimidation, kind of right. So, because like one of the ideas I had of her was that she'd be like, you see, like she's wearing jeans instead of like black slacks, right? Like, I thought the idea would be kind of funny is that if she was like, um, a, well, first of all, I thought she would be like, you know, kind of fucking, you know, kind of fucking like bad at her job in terms of like not doing it. But then I was like, oh, I want to contribute to the story. And also that would look kind of shitty. So I was like, oh, how do I change this? And I thought about it. I was like, huh, okay, it kind of makes sense now. So I basically changed her to be like, she's like an assistant manager, right? Or like a manager essentially. Because the manager, regular manager, you can barely see him. It's like always fucking busy. So assistant manager is the manager. Or like as much as a manager as like you can while being like a coworker, right? So it's like, you know, she's just only slightly above the other two, or maybe I just make her back to a regular coworker. I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring out, but I thought it'd be kind of funny if she was like a manager, right? And she's just like, you know, she just got appointed to a manager, and she's like super, you know, she's trying her best, which I, you know, characters who try their best are just inherently just more like, you know, relatable to people because some people just try their best and they need characters that also try their best, right? But also the whole thing about her is that she would be completely dog shit at like her job of like, she'd be dog shit at certain aspects of managing, right? She'd be dog shit at teaching how to like use like whatever fucking thing, the register, the coffee machine, I don't know, the fucking clean the fucking bathroom. She'd be dog shit at everything related to like teaching shit and kind of dog shit at learning shit. But she'd be really good at like, you know, actually doing our job. So, because like managers typically are upgraded from like people who are really good at their job, and they're just like, oh, you do your job good, you probably can handle people, and it's like, not really, because they're different skills. Like leadership is a different skill than like, you know, doing the job that you're like assigned to do, right? So, I don't know. So, because it's a workplace comedy, so I really think about, and I'm like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm really interested in the fact that like I just find it really interesting that like certain jobs, like certain things about jobs, because I really just, because you think about jobs, right? Jobs, you're gonna work jobs for a lot of your life, pretty much most of it, sometimes all of it. I think in America we're definitely gonna be working all of it, especially the way economy's going now. Am I right? Am I right? Can a brother relate? Can a brother relate? And you know, it's like the whole thing about it is that, and I thought that was so cool about regular shows that the idea is that you know you're around people that you want to be around, and the office has that too, where it's like the you know, being around like not really a family but like, you know, people that you kind of like fuck with, and it's like they have your back and it's kind of cool, right? And I thought it was kind of cool, like the camaraderie of it, right? And I thought it was like, you know, the funny situations of it, because like there's strange, like strangely small amount of like workplace comedies in terms of like animation. I think like I can't think of many others besides regular show, and it's kind of weird because like working is like, because adult comedy, you figured adult comedies would focus a little bit more on work. I don't know. I mean, obviously that lead to like the best plot lines ever, right? Doing stuff out of work, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you could maybe write some stuff related to it, and that's the whole point of it. I'm just like, you know, let's see how it works, right? Because I don't know. I just felt, I don't know where I felt in this love with this idea. I think there's like this Digi video that I you know, the light novel video that I yeah, it's like I wrote a light novel in like 24 hours, and I watched it back recently, and I was like there's like this one part where they explain like this idea they had for a story that was like these portals into like other places that all come back to this random convenience store, and I definitely remember hearing about that. So it was mixed between that and 3 in the a.m. p.m. that kind of like got me in this thing. I know convenience. I was kind of obsessed with convenience stores, like the idea of convenience stores, because they look cool, right? Like I don't know. It's like logistically, it's probably like hard to make a show inside a convenience store because like, you know, just like drawing all those backgrounds if it's a 2D show, or making the entire rig for a like a setting like that if it's a 3D show, like I don't know, it'd just be like very difficult. But I didn't think about that until like literally a couple of days ago, so that doesn't matter now. But still I wanted to, you know, have these characters do something. Anyway, whole point was that workplace comedies, right? I think that like the idea, and then like workplace comedies are usually sitcoms, right? So I don't know, it's situation comedies. That's what they're called. So workplace comedies, kind of shit like that, and you know, like the idea of having like a manager who's kind of dog shit at their job, but they're struggling and learning how to be better at it is kind of like a cool thing. I thought it'd be kind of cool because managers in fiction are always like typically seen as at least for Benson, right? He's like, he's good at his job technically. I guess he's like, says what you have to do, does his job, and then he's like, all right, well, it's one of those things where it's like he does that and he just tells you to do your job and he kind of leaves you alone, right? But Mordecai and Rigby are just really fucking stupid. They're terrible at doing their actual job, and they end up fucking up everything. And they fix it in the end, generally. But Ben can get pissed at them, right? And it's like that's cool, right? But usually the experience you have with managers is just like very banal, and it's like sometimes it's even cool. Sometimes you have a cool manager, and I want to capture that. I don't know. I like the idea of having a cool manager. One day I hope to have one. So it's kind of a fantasy in that respect, right? A cool manager, to have a cool manager. So I don't know. Have a cool manager. Be kind of a cool, interesting character. So, with those constraints, right? One Latina character, that'd be kind of cool. One the possum character, because that matches the theme. Kind of want a tall character, tallish, because contrast. Wanted to be like, have wide hips. I just like wide hips, right? And stuff like that. And you could see Eileen. You could see Eileen here. She's not really a manager type, but kind of the same like vibe and kind of tone, right? Yeah. And I don't know. She's not really. So anyway, Lynn, right, the character right here. She's not really like stoner anymore. I guess she could be. I don't really decide on that, but the whole point is that like she's just chill. She's super chill, and she's like, you know, it's like the kind of like the relationship with them, like like he's like super hype and high strung about doing his job, like super. He just loves his job, loves it every second. She's like super stressed out about keeping her job because she fucking hates it. She's like, oh my god, I fucking hate every second of this. This is stupid. But I need this 'cause I need money, and money makes the world go round, right? And she's just like super chill, right? She's like, I could take it or leave it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I thought that'd be really funny. I thought that'd be funny. Fuck. I thought that'd be funny as shit. Just have one character that does not care, go with the flow, kind of like Patrick, but just like in a workplace setting where it's just like, because I know people like that who are just like, I know people like all of these, this is based on experiences, you can't base something off of nothing. You base something off of other characters, but you have to base it off of something, right? So I don't know, experience of reading about characters, looking at people, talking to people, being people, shit like that. And, just like, and I have that sign circled so you know which ones I used, right? But, the, just the video that she show, and one thing was that, so, all these are constraints that I, like, kind of put upon myself because a character design needs constraints. And I want to include the red shoes at some point again, but I just wanted to, draw the chibi version, like I said, just like to, get the design done, right? So that's the gist of it. And, that's kind of like the idea. So first thing I did, and I know I'm an hour in and I'm just starting to explain the character design, but this is the only chance I get to talk about my OCs and the story I want to write, which I'm going to write. I promise. Going to write eventually. I'm going to write soon, after I finish a couple videos. Then I'll do it. And I'm going to say that. And then those videos, like, what if those videos pop off? And I'll be like, oh man, I'll do that later. I need to finish a couple more videos. And then those videos, videos don't do well. And I need to, come back up. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll do it after these videos, like, get better. And then I'm like, those videos pop off. And then I'm like, and you keep going. And those videos, I got to do more videos. And then those videos fuck off. Those videos are terrible. I'm like, oh man, I need to improve at making videos. And it just keeps going and going and going. You do research for videos. Oh man, I need to do this more video. I'm going to edit for this video. Just do this and this and this. So I need to find the time to just like because I found the time to make another character design. So clearly I could find the time to write some more stories, right? Like I take notes all the time. I need to write like the actual scripts again. So yeah. Um, so if you have any tips on writing a script to a, let's say a cartoon, or, you know, um, rendering in Krita, then shout him here, I guess. Anyway, so basically, like, and also, um, side notes, before you get started with that, the whole idea with that Hershey would be a stoner would be like kind of like a weird like irony because you know, oh, it's called weeds like called skunk, and then she is also one of those, and then you know she doesn't, she just smells normal, but she smells like weed, and I thought that'd be kind of funny because you know, irony. But anyway, um, so basically, like, she is like the whole thing. I think I started to the top. I think I started somewhere around like here. That's okay. First of all, I started like at this base. I started like with a base of just like imagine this without color. I don't have. I don't think I have like that. Do I have a version without that color? Yeah, like this general shape, right? Um, and you know, I can put this at the top layer, I guess. But like I started off with a base, right? A base I drew. And side note, if you're an artist, beginning artist, I don't know, I'm not an artist so I could say stuff, but I recommend that you know, at least use references because references are what make you a better artist. And if you really have to, if you really are in a rush, maybe use bases, but probably just use references, right? So I have this like little like base I drew based on like, you know, the idea of just like kind of like that, but like with thicker thighs, I guess, kind of like more shapely body, I guess, you know, kind of like figure. Like a pear, you know, the pear figure, yeah, a pear shape. Where is it? It's under here, under this, and you know, kind of like that. And through that, it's kind of like the base of that. And I'm gonna put this away now 'cause I don't need it anymore. Here you go, bye bye. And um, you know, it's like I started with that, and then I kind of like just like drew over it, right? Very easy to say that, and you know, the various iterations. I think I started somewhere around like here, like here. I think that was it. So I think it was like I think it was the afro I drew first, actually the afro, because you know afro Latino. So afro, I think that was like good. And the thing with like character designs that you want like a really distinctive shape that you could just like kind of black out and then see which character's which, because you know, and because you know I get the general like fundamentals of character design, but like doing it in practice is very difficult, right? So I don't know. The afro is a good one to start with, right? I think you know, especially with the hair strands, kind of worked out a little bit. But I was like, huh, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. Something missing there. But it's one of the better designs to start off with. I think I went to like over to these ones. I'm like, these ones are alright, they're cool. I think I like this one, specifically this one. Yeah, I was like this one. I was like, it's kind of cool for a second, and then I realized she looks like a Splatoon character, especially with like that. Look at that fucking forehead. Look at my fucking forehead. So yeah, I put like a little thing on that, kind of like that, and she looks like a mother. She looks like a bee from Bee and Puppycat, which is fine, but not for this character. It's not, you know, I like that vibe, but I don't want that vibe for her. You know, like she's not like. I mean, I don't really know if she went to college, but kind of maybe I'll figure that out later. But like, it's not the college dropout vibe, you know. She's just like chill, you know. College dropout vibe is like not ambitious, which I mean, I guess she's not ambitious either. But like, it's just a different vibe, you know. It's a different like kind of inspiration to vibe. So I don't want that hairstyle. This one I drew somewhere around here. But that's just a Tron bond, which is fine. But I want to, you know, I want to try out a sharp hairstyle, see if that like made a good impression, kind of because it has a sharp silhouette, right? So that kind of you know, it is a thing that happens. A sharp silhouette, like, kind of like influences your character. But I was like, oh, that kind of looks too much like Tron, but also I don't like the way it looks, right? This one kind of cool. It's kind of like a mother. I might reuse that hair at some point. Uh, but she definitely looks like a middle-aged mom there, which is fine. I like that one for like a temporary, you know. Looks more like a Maria than a Lynn there, you know. This one kind of closer to what I wanted, but you know, kind of like I don't know, something vibe thing. That was just a weird face I drew because I, you know, the extra space. I think the short hair is kind of aiming for the short hair, right? So you know, kind of with that vibe. You know what I mean? I use all these different hairs for inspiration, right? So it's one of those things, right? And you know, progressively just like go through idea after idea, and she's like transforming over time. Um, and it's like one of those things where like you know, this one I kind of try to do the wavy hair, kind of do her curly hair, right? Um, and then progressively like you know, kind of I think I like got to the left side, right? The left side. And I'm like, they like the triangle hair. And I'm like, cause she has a triangle hair, or ponytail, right? So triangle, sharp triangles, they kind of like work out for a silhouette, right? So I'm like, okay, that works. And I like that one. Looks kind of cool, right? Her forehead's really big, apparently, in that fucking thing. It kind of looks cool. Looks kind of looks alright, but her forehead's really fucking big in this one. So I'm like, I kind of wanna, you know, not like I have to cover it, you know, because it's like people have sometimes just have uncovered foreheads, right? It's like just a thing that people do, right? But in this case, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I could try like have like a split hair do, right? So in this one, I tried again, try to add it like see if it like could work. Added like you know V-shaped you know thing line to, so I don't have to do a what's it called a gradient or anything, but I can still simulate like the fur changing color as it goes from the head to the tail, right? There's that. And a part of it was like I added these strands to this one in particular because I wanted to be like, you know, kind of like, you know, as a character, right? She's like so chill. She doesn't really like brush her hair that often. She's just like whatever, you know, she's just really fucking just like think about life, you know, really cool, really chill, right? Doesn't give a shit. Yeah. So, you know, one of the things. So it's like that. Um, and I was like, the triangular shape is kind of good. I kind of like the triangle shape, so I'm gonna keep that. So I did that. And I don't remember when I added in the mole again. The mole was from that design, which I didn't know until I just pulled it up. But yeah, the mole from that design. Um, I didn't need to change. I didn't need to figure out the eye color when I redraw her. But yeah, I think probably just brown or some shit, you know. So yeah, there's like this one where it's like the hair's shorter, and I was like, huh, it's kind of too short, but you know, I compare it to the other ones. This one where it's like the hair is filled in with the color instead of being like a just a V, where it's like you know, there's this one where it's like which is you know, we can just go to this side because these are like the final ones. There's this one where it's like that one, it's like with like the hair kind of like parted, which is after this one, which is this the hair like you know the different thing, like the same hairstyle like in different like ways, I guess. You know, like that's kind of like a circular, it's like a circular C-shaped line, and that one's kind of like a more stiff line, I guess. I don't know. Just it might be the facial expression that looks different. Really, it's kind of similar, you know, but same difference, right? But kind of like you know trying to you know go through it, kind of see how I'd redo it, and you know did this one kind of like V-shapes, kind of get in, see like that one's very sharp. I was like, that one might work, but I'm like, I don't know. You know, it's like, yeah, maybe, you know, and yeah, kind of, because I like this particular one, right? So I'm like, you know, I want to keep that like curvy hair do instead of like the A shape. It's like the I guess curved A shape, I guess maybe like a C shape or something. I don't know. So I'm like almost there, and I kind of like remember and like this. This is like what I kind of want to do. So, like kind of like that, kind of like that general idea, right? Like the like this right here. The idea was kind of getting there, but you know, kind of you know, kind of settled down right now. You know, kind of settled. And last thing I added was, you know, I'm still trying to decide between these two right here. The these two. Um, and it's like, you know, to keep the V shapes in the hair. They're easier to draw over and over again. You know, they're filled in, but, doesn't look full. Or do I fill in the shape every time and have to do more work, but it looks kind of full, right? And do I keep, do I do the earrings, where it's like the earrings that are just like tiny, or do I do the one earring where it's like attached to a thing? I don't know. I think like I like the idea of that one maybe a little better because it's asymmetrical. It's on the same side as our mole, I guess. So maybe I might keep it that way. Still kind of just trying to decide between the regular V and the filled in V shape on the hair, right? But generally it's the same kind of idea. So I was like, at this point I'm like done with it. I mean, because the other things are self-explanatory, right? Like the costuming was just like done with these two already. Had to just change it from the other version of it to this version, right? So one aspect, jeans are just part of her thing. She's wear jeans. I don't know. The other two just like wearing slacks better. I don't know. Like she likes jeans. Her tail. She's a possum, I guess. It's like just part of her thing. And mole is just like, called a beauty mark. I don't know. I like it. Looks cute. Um, Typically associated with what's it called? Latino people. So it's like one of those things, right? And it's one of those things where you just like, um, it's like, I don't know. It's like, what's it called? Like, what's it called? Moles. Like a beauty mark. And I don't know why you'd want to remove it, I say beauty mark or a beauty spot is a euphemism for a dark facial mark that's such as birthmarks. So it's sometimes considered an attractive feature. Like, okay, like, they're cool. They're not bad. Oh, I used to know people with beauty marks. I was gonna put freckles on there, but freckles are just like too much to draw. You ever see how they don't usually have that many animated characters with freckles? Like it's a thing that like I feel like they do it on they do it on purpose because they're like, all right, well we don't want to animate that shit. Like I think Recess had a kid with freckles that was the main character, but generally not really like a main thing. It's like a side character, right? Maybe Carl Weezer, but that's a 3D animation, so that's why a lot of cartoons do 3D animation because they don't have to draw like fucking characters again. Anyway, but basically, long story short, this is like how I kind of went through the character design process. Is I could have condensed that to 17 minutes, but I didn't think I'd be spending an hour talking about my fucking OCs. All right. So I could really go in depth to every idea I've ever had, but you know, this is the general like gist, right? And when you just go through ideas, and I still wish I could draw like stuff like that because I really like the way those afros look. They're kind of cool, right? Um, and I like the way this hair looks, that hair looks. Yeah, I could have done like you should do a kind of character with like this just generic long hair, right? And I might. So we'll see. But it really came out mostly like kind of like this, which is kind of funny. That's the first picture I got. So yeah, but yeah, generally like that's the gist of it, right? And I don't know. I just felt like kind of talking about like, and I spent like an hour doing this, so it could take like 2 hours rendering and uploading, so that's great. But I don't know. I spent like I felt like talking about I should have done it with should have done it with like a well then again if I did it with a video because I did this straight in OBS, so the audio is just like baked into it, and the little like rain sounds you hear presumably are just baked into the file. But I really doubt that I'm gonna be using this again. This is definitely second channel material, right? So I don't know. We'll see. But if I did fuck up, I did fuck up. But generally, it's like, you know, whatever. But the general gist is that I just wanted to talk about this shit because when you make something for a while and you plan out something, you kind of want to talk to people about it, even if it's not done. You just have this inclination to be like, oh man, I want to share what I'm doing, right? And talking about your OCs is very hard to fit into a conversation, right? Because it's like, first of all, it's a very selfish thing. I want to talk about what I'm doing right now. It's like, friend talking about, They're $50 trillion that they made and are giving you right now. And you're like, well, I want to talk about OCs. Like, oh, you're not getting that $50 trillion anymore. Anyway, so it's like one of those things, right? It's like, I don't know. I just really like talking about them. And I feel stupid because, like, whenever I talk about them, I feel like a fucking idiot. Like, my dumb furry comic or whatever, my dumb furry show, like, it just feels really stupid. But I feel accomplished right now because I'm just like, this is a kind of cool character design. And the really gist of it is that, like, you know, I feel like I could make a very good character design, but like, because I kind of get the fundamentals a little bit. Really the gist of it now is that, a lot of it is based on like characters and like plot lines that are kind of like, not like real life because they are like animals and shit, hybrids, but like they're kind of like more realistic to thing that other characters. It's not like an earthbound enemy where you could have a giant washing machine attack you, right? It's like fairly normal. This could really technically be done with live action, I guess, if you just like really get into the costuming, I guess. So, one of those things. But I don't know. Maybe if I go into start making an RPG, I could make some crazy ass character designs. But I feel like the subtlety is also like a skill, right? To have a character design, it's like I thought it was good. I think it's good. I think it kind of narrowed it down to the idea that I like the best right here. So yeah, that's what I like to say. Anyway, I just want to talk about that because I thought it was really cool, and I really just like I was looking at this mood board I had, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. Let's make an interesting video. Maybe someone would be interested in it, right? So it is what it is. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully, I might make more videos about my stupid ass OCs, or even make a video worthy of the main channel. Yeah, with like a 25 minute animatic animation or some shit, flip note or whatever, and which I don't know how I'd make a 25-minute animation. That'd be I don't even know how I'd start with that because I mean, Critic can only handle like fucking 15 seconds before it takes a year to render. So aside from that, you know, I don't know. Like, if I'm being honest, it's probably gonna happen anytime soon. But maybe it might happen anytime soon. I don't know. I can just narrate it, narrate the dialogue myself. Yeah, I might need voice actors. I don't know. Hopefully, I find just some random people. Like, we'll figure it out later. We'll do what we gotta do. Anyway, but yeah, the gist of it is that you know, thank you for listening to me talking about my OCs, because I just love talking about them. I put a lot of thought into all this shit for some reason. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's not gonna be like the next big thing. I really hope it's not, given how like other indie creators are getting treated around the internet. But it's my thing, right? The thing that I want to make. So, and I think that's cool. So, and that's you spent clearly you think it's cool too because you spent like an hour and a half listening to me talk about it. So, thank you, and hope you have a nice day. And one day I'll do something that you, dear viewer, will be proud of. I'll be the Jeremy 985 of making stupid furry adjacent, anime adjacent YouTube shows. Anyway, but yeah, that's all I want to say. Bye.